Good morning. My name is Tom. I come to you from the Rustic log cabin in Northern Maine. Welcome to my shop today. I want to talk about, there's two pieces of equipment here. I'll spin the camera down so you can see them here in a minute. I got the 6-wheeler on one side of me and I've got the 4-wheeler on the other side of me. I bought the 4-wheeler in 2004 and I bought this 6-wheeler used about 4 years ago, give or take. Both machines, I had saved up the money and paid for them outright. The 6-wheeler was $3,000. The 4-wheeler was $4,000, brand new. The 6-wheeler, when I bought it, it had 500 miles on it, something like that, 600 miles. Wasn't many at all. The machine had gone to Alaska from a guy that moved to Alaska from here. And then he came back home a couple years later, brought the machine home, and it was for sale out on the front lawn. I looked at it 2 or 3 times on the way by, and boy oh boy, and then finally decided I bought it and would buy it. Glad I did. It's been the workhorse of Beaver Creek. Without this 6-wheeler and this 4-wheeler, owning Beaver Creek it would be possible to own it, but you couldn't do much out there except walk out there, so the 6-wheeler has played a big role in getting that cabin out there. So if you're looking to buy a piece of property a mile off the road or more, I say go ahead and do it. With 1 summer's worth of work, if you keep your project small, you can own a hellacious hunting cabin a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles back in. Up here, you know, there's lots and lots of areas that have tote road, what's called tote roads. And it doesn't take much to brush out a tote road to get a trail for a 4-wheeler. So that's what I did on Beaver Creek. You know, some of it is a snowmobile trail. Probably, I don't know, a little more than half is a snowmobile trail. And the other half was tote roads that I went in and cleaned up to get down into Beaver Creek. Like I said, without these pieces of equipment, you know, a lot of people say toys, toys, toys. This isn't toys. I don't use either one of these machines just for the fun of it. I use them like you would use your pickup truck or like you'd use your car going back and forth to work. I went to Beaver Creek for 2 weeks worth of hunting. When I pulled in on Monday, the thing sat in its spot for the entire week until I came out and picked up my grandson. I don't need it once I'm in at the cabin. Everything in at the cabin I can get to on foot. So the thing just sat there. And if I get a deer, then I go back to the cabin and get it and then go pick up the deer. So what am I doing here today? Well, I've been working on the 4-wheeler. That's off to this side of me. 6-wheeler, worked on that last couple weeks. Well, I guess it's probably about 3 weeks ago now, just before I was able to get back in and do some hunting. But I had what I thought was a bad solenoid, so I ordered a solenoid online, got the solenoid in a couple days ago, changed it out this morning, and it still wouldn't work. So it wasn't the solenoid. Bad diagnosis. I've had the solenoid go bad before in the past. And it was acting just like that. That's why I thought it was a solenoid. But anyways, I put the new one in. The old one that I took out, I put on the shelf and labeled it Arctic Cat 2004, good. So now I got one on the shelf if I have a problem in the future. Not that much money, 12 bucks, so it's worth having it on the shelf. What it turned out being, you know, I had to get my testers out. Everything was good right to the starter. So I figured it had something to do with that starter, and it did. Once I tapped on the starter a little bit, then it would work. I unbolted it, got a stick of wood out, tap, 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 gonna knock the starter out of its hole, and then just for the fun of it, I tried the key and away she went. So then I knew exactly what it was. There's bushings on the inside of a starter, and they obviously had stuck. So what I did was I finished taking the starter out. I took the starter apart and got into the bushings, cleaned them up a little bit, and then put it all back together and put it back in the machine, and now she's working great. So that's what today's project was, anyways. I'm going through that four-wheeler. I want both of these machines perfect for next year, because when this one was giving me problems with the chain, it was when I was having problems with the starter on this one. So at that point in time, I didn't have a wheeler up and going. So that kind of almost ruined my hunting season over there at Beaver Creek. So, and I've been puttering on this thing all summer anyways, here and there. Trying to, even though it's a 2004, it doesn't have many miles on it. All the miles are hunting miles, as far as just like up at the Rustic log cabin, getting back to the bear stands and all that. Short trips. I use it up there for the bear hunting, as well as the gathering firewood. So it's done most of its work in just getting firewood for the cabin. It makes a great thing for that. I got a little trailer for the back of it, and away we go. But if you own a piece of property and you're going to be a mile back in the woods, these things are pretty good to go with. I know they mostly sell double wides nowadays, it seems it. But I did notice at the Polaris dealer a lot more four-wheelers in stock as compared to the side-by-side. So maybe not quite so many people using the side-by-sides. But one of the things about working on your own equipment and being your own mechanic, some things obviously we probably can't do. Maybe there's other people out there smarter than I am at this stuff. But for the most part, it's going to be something minor, usually, that knocks you out of service back in the woods. So it's nice to have a couple of tools on hand. Like I carry tools now for adjusting the chains on the 6x6. If that thing skips a beat on the way in, now what I got everything I need on the six-wheeler or at the cabin to adjust the chains and be done with it. Not cause any more problems by having a chain skip, because the more that chain skips, the more wear and tear on a sprocket. So adjust the chain and don't wear out the sprocket is my mentality. And it only takes a couple of wrenches and a pipe wrench to be able to adjust the chain on there, so not a big deal at all. The same thing with the then your next things would be issues would be being able to start it in the morning. If you get older, that's different. My machines still have the pull cord. You can start them with it's all electric start, but they have as a backup, they have the pull cord, and that's worked forever for me. If I had a problem with the electrical system where the starter wouldn't kick in, I could always get the machine started by hand. Well, I'm getting older. That's no longer possible. It takes just about everything I got to pull that motor over now because of the compression, so you just don't get it. You just don't get enough oomph in there to get it started, especially if it's cold. So what I'm going to carry it now is one of those little yellow generators, little Champion generators. And I have a battery charger at the cabin. And these little generators come with a battery charger that you actually plug into the cigarette lighter, and then you can charge a battery that way. So, short of anything major wrong with the electrical system, a dead battery or something like that, that generator will take care of as far as getting the thing started. Different things I'm thinking about as I get older when I'm hanging out at Beaver Creek. You know, I don't want anything to stop me from being able to go, so we want to go as long as we possibly can. So coming up with ideas. Maybe that's what I'm talking about in this video, even for you and your cabin. You know, I've had surgery in the past and got myself to camp at least, and everything was there I needed, and then I recovered at camp. You know, so that's, you know, once where you was out of danger or anything like that, then you just go to camp instead of resting in front of the TV. You go to the camp and you rest on the porch beside the wood stove or something like that. And that's what I did in the past. So, and that's how I'm setting up Beaver Creek, and that's how I've already set up the rustic log cabin with different tools, equipment that can keep me going, and if I get into a pickle, they can get me bailed out. You know, I'm not one of those kind of guys that just calls somebody and says, help, help, help. If you got the tools and you have the knowledge and you have the know-how, a lot of times you can fix a small repair and get yourself out of the woods. And that's all that matters. But if you go into the woods without extra parts or without tools or anything like that, at least the basics, then you're asking for problems. You know, you're asking to get stranded. So I figure if you're asking to get stranded, well, you ought to get stranded. But I've ordered extra chains for the 6x6 now. I got a really good deal on eBay. There's nothing fancy about the chains. They just work. I'm going to cut them down to size so that they are the right size. I got 2 of them. I'll keep one here and I'll keep one at Beaver Creek. I also have a spare belt for the 6x6. Well, I don't know, I got all kinds of parts on board anyways, and tools. And the same thing with the Arctic Cat 4-wheeler. The things that can possibly go wrong, I've tried to look ahead and have that either setting at camp or setting on the machine somewhere. And that way if you get into a pickle, you can fix your pickle. You can fix your pickle. But what a fall we had. I had a good time. Winter is on its way. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about winter plans. And we'll see how it all plays out. So come on back. I'll see you next week. And follow up on the video of winter plans. Winter plans and next summer. Holy smokes. Already making plans for next summer. Got a lot I want to get accomplished over there on Beaver Creek. So it's going to be a busy, busy summer next year.